You are now tuned in to DAR Sports Media. It is Football Fridays, and we are coming to you with another draft review. We figured this was the third most interesting pairing of divisions after we went through, the craziness for the Falcons, Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze boosting things up for the Bears. We figured, you guys might want to hear the take on the NFC West, where my team and one of the biggest, most powerful teams in the NFL resides, the San Francisco 49ers. So we are doing NFC West, AFC West this week. I got Tay of Tay's takes with me. True God is riding with us as well tonight. We're going to start off in the NFC West. Tay, I'm going to let you, I'll go ahead, man. At least with one team, and then we'll move on, and you can pick whatever teams that you want. All right, so typical, right, all along, so I can show that I've been consistent all along. What have I said that I grade drafts off of? Guys who will be impact players this season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the 49ers most likely got 4 of them. So therefore, you can say whatever you want about value. You can say whatever. I always say this in both the NFL draft and it's in fantasy football. Stroking off about value is just jerking off. Like, get good players, right? You don't want to crazy overdraft someone, but if you're they could have traded back 5 spots and got that same guy. Look, man, if he's a good fit for the system and he balls the fuck out, then what are we doing here? Like, so with the 49ers getting 4 impact players at the very least, I can't help but give it a really good grade. Ricky Pearsall, I had him as a second-round guy too, but the Niners liked him. There was a one run on receivers. His athletic profile is through the fucking roof. Managed to outplay really bad quarterback play at the University of Florida. Dude does everything that they want him to do in this offense. I think he's going to be nasty business. And what you also see in these 49ers drafts is you see the 49ers, because we have not watched the tape as many times as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have from the Super Bowl. So you see what they felt was what they needed to add to this team. They felt that their Avengers, their all-stars, these amazing skill players that y'all talk about, got clamped in the Super Bowl. And they did. They want a man beater. They want guys who can get themselves open and just another option in the offense to spread out the defense of what they can do against you scheme-wise. I was in here all about alignment, and I still would have been happy with one. And that's, when you move on to their second pick, Kingsley Sumiata is somebody who I've been talking about this whole draft process, and they basically traded him to the Chiefs directly because they traded out of the spot. The Chiefs came in and took him. I loved him as a prospect, but I'm not the one making the picks. Clearly, Lynch and Shanahan didn't feel that way about him. Bernardo Green went in the second round. They intend for him to start at nickel. So that's another guy, impact player. Third round, we finally get our offensive lineman, Dominic Pooney. Played over 600 plus snaps, left guard, left tackle. Allowed very few sacks, very few pressures. He will likely start someplace on this line this year and be effective. They said they might even put him at center, which I would love, and because so much of the Kyle Shanahan offense is predicated off of solid center play. So happy with that. My fourth impact guy, Malik Mustafa, best tackling defensive back in the whole class, team captain, huge character guy, big hitter, fits the mold of a Derwin James in what's going to be, let's all be real, the Brandon Staley system that's being brought in here. So I'm excited about that pick as well. I also love Jacob Cowing. I love Isaac Garendo, 2 guys who are going to be able to make an impact, not necessarily maybe starters, but I think they're ready to move on from the whole Elijah Mitchell thing. I think they're tired of him being hurt all the time. I think, and Garendo is just, a phenom athletically, top 5 ever in testing weight versus explosion versus 40 time testing. So obviously could be a beast in this offense. I would have loved a stud plug and play offensive tackle, but otherwise, I'm extremely happy with this class, and ready to see these guys ball out. Coming up, Day, who else stood out to you in the NFC West? If it's the Niners, go ahead with the Niners. But what else stood out to you in the NFC West?
Yeah, I want to talk about the 49ers. For people that say they reached on Ricky Pearsall, I don't think so, because you see the contract issues they've been having the past few years. First with Deebo Samuel, and then now it's Brandon Ayuk, which they still haven't signed currently. So that them, picking him in the first round, even though most people did not have him as a first round receiver, that was for the 5th-year option, just to have an extra year of contract negotiation and whatnot. So I don't think that's a reach, especially because it's at the back end of the first round. Like, it's not like they took him in the top 5 or anything like that. So yeah. And I think he's a good player too. So he can fit right in. If the 49ers do re-sign Brandon Ayuk, he can be the 3rd wide receiver. Anything, yeah, I definitely did like the 49ers draft. They also got a slot corner, which was needed. And Malik Mustafa, they now have that I would say that lets Talanoa be more of a in the box kind of guy, because he's not the best in coverage,
Yeah, he never was the best in coverage, and he blew out his fucking ACL.
Yeah, so now
doesn't generally make you better.
Yeah, so now they can have him more inside on blitz packages. He's great at that. So it just helps the defense out in many ways. Like, I think 49ers really, they surprised me. I didn't think they would draft like this. I thought I was going to be linemen early, then their wide receivers and corners later. But I mean, I feel like this works. Dominic Pooney is very versatile on the line. Like, I heard he can play both tackles. He can play guards, and he said you might play him. So I mean, if you can play all 5 positions, for a team that does need O-line help, I would say every position outside of left tackle, that's great. 3rd round. I definitely do think he can play guard, like, it pretty instantly. That will help the O-line out, because that, you can say that's why they lost the Super Bowl. The O-line.
I don't know if I necessarily, O-line, yes, that's correct. O-line and the clamps, yep, absolutely.
49ers definitely, they had a good draft, and I think most of their picks are going to make them better, and we'll see them next year. They do a good job drafting. Like, it's been year after year. They always have a guy, especially late. Like, they can get a guy in the 4th round, and they just,
plug and play. That's going to be Malik Mustafa this
year.
It
is. Oh, I know. I know.
Yeah. He's going to be that guy we're talking about 3 years from now who's like, God, how did the Niners find this guy so late? And he's such a beast. As begrudging as it is for me to accept, the Cardinals, man, I was really impressed with the way they did. They got Marvin Harrison Jr., like we talked about, one of the cleanest prospects in this entire class. Darius Robinson, one of the best pass rushers. And also they added, arguably, what some of us were putting up as our RB1 in the class, Trey Benson, later on. So, there you go. 3 impact starters at 3, 2 skill guys who are explosive, and then one of the, the most important positions on the defense, pass rusher. So as much as it hurts me to say, I liked what the Cardinals did.
Yeah. I'm glad the Cardinals didn't move back and get lesser talent. I feel like they need a Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. has Hall of Fame type talent. Yeah. That's who I'm gonna draft in my fantasy leagues. For sure. Just to help out Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Cardinals have been bad the past 2 seasons, dealing with injuries, stuff like that. But I feel like this draft, they had like 12 picks. This draft was a great step in the right direction. They hit every position. Like I said, they got Marvin Harrison Jr., they got Darius Robinson. Not really the highest on him, but I feel like with time he could be good. Like, he's a little bigger, like He's kind of close to D tackle size. I would say he's 285. Like 2 more cheeseburgers. He's a D tackle.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got a corner as well. I like Max Milton. He ran a 4.39. Crazy speed. And then my RB1, Trey Benson, out of Florida State. That was a great pick. You got a 28-year-old James Conner. He's been dealing with injuries. He is a good running back, but he has been dealing with injuries. And when the offense did not have James Conner, they didn't have a run game.
Dudes from out of Foot Locker, yeah.
Yeah, they did not have a run game. So that was very necessary. And I'm glad the Cardinals got them. That was a solid pick. And Tip Raymond from Illinois, they got a tight end just to pair with Trey McBride. I think Trey McBride is gonna have another good season. But I think that the Cardinals are in the right step. I don't think they'll have 4 wins again next season. They might be able to double 4 wins, especially with the healthy Kyler Murray. And if some of these rookies pan out, I think they like their head coach. They brought him back. It wasn't really a fair evaluation, but I think like the Cardinals did really well. I'm just kind of iffy on Darius Robinson. I think they could have did that in the second round, or they could have went elsewhere. But outside of that, the Cardinals, I give them a B+.
I'm not sure. Well, I guess given what they lost and who retired and all that, the Rams had an interesting class because they got 3 of my favorite players. I just don't know how impactful they're going to be for the Rams. Jared Verse, Brandon Fiske, and Blake Corum. 1, 2, 3. 3 players I really, really liked coming into this class, especially Fiske and Corum. What do you think of the Rams draft?
The Rams draft was interesting. Jared Verse, that was needed. Just losing Aaron Donald just hurts the D line just as a whole. So, building from the edge and then was a good idea. And Brandon Fiske, I was not a fan of that.
Oh, wow.
I didn't like that. I did not like that. When you watch him, he looks like an oversized linebacker to me. Like, I don't think he can hold
playmaker,
up.
Though.
That's true. I just don't think against these 350-pound line, I don't think he can hold up, especially in the run game. Like maybe as a pass rusher, yes, but he's not going to be in the field, early on the early downs, like first and second down. I don't think he ran a 4.78. Like that's pretty much edge speed. I don't know. He might be at the wrong position. Kind of like what I said about Darius Robinson. I wasn't a fan of that, and they traded up for that. I think he would have been there, but I didn't like that pick. And again, Blake Corum too. I think Blake Corum is a good football player, but why? I was kind of confused on that. Like, why Blake Corum? I don't think Blake Corum would be better than Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams had a great season. Like, see, they're like the same guy, like the same size, same.
Yeah, I definitely thought the other LA team was going to be on Blake Corum, especially since they need a running back. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. The Rams usually they usually have some sleeper guys like throughout the draft. I did not like their second and third round. I don't know. It just wasn't. It is especially Blake Corum. Blake Corum made absolutely no sense for a team. I'm pretty sure they proved to me they don't need a running back whatsoever. Like if they felt that way, they could have went late. They could have got like a 6th round running back or something like that. I don't think they could have. They should have spent third. They could have got a corner there, something like that. Like I feel like they need a corner. Like they could have got a corner there, something like that. I just don't think Blake Corum for them. Now he is a 3rd round running back, but for the Rams, I didn't like that. It just doesn't make any sense.
The Seahawks, I didn't really see anything about their draft that impressed me, but I will say that they attacked offensive line depth, which is probably their most glaring issue there, other than the fact that, the guys they got in spots are only have a ceiling on them, and they ain't going to go above that ceiling, which I said in the offseason last year, and we completely saw happen. But they attacked offensive line depth, and that's what they needed. So good. And I like getting a top level pass rusher as well to pair with the developing, really strong secondary. So that was a good piece to add. I just don't know. I'm not sure who in this class is helping them a whole hell of a lot this year.
Yeah. They got a new head coach, and I'm pretty sure he has some say in who they're picking. And the old Seahawks way was based off of size and athleticism, like Tariq Woolen, 6'4", the fastest. He is the fastest corner in the league. Maybe not anymore, but that's just always been the Seahawks way. And it looks a lot different this year. Like, it's not, this draft isn't, they didn't draft any guys like that. But I do like their first round pick, getting Byron Murphy, solidifying the interior D line, because I feel like that was their biggest need. It's starting to be, D tackle is really working its way up to being one of the most valuable positions in the league. Like, I feel like D tackle now is more valuable than wide receivers. Like, we've seen that with the Chiefs. It's more valuable than corner, like the Chiefs paid Chris Jones before, Jarius Sneed and whatnot. Like, D tackle is really very valuable.
They just about position. Directly picked one over the other because they paid Jones and traded away Sneed.
Yeah, they did. That's what I'm saying. Like, so I don't mind Byron Murphy. He was my he was a second D tackle to me, and I wonder if they'll use him on offense.
Oh,
because he did it. He did it in college. I wonder. Yeah. I don't know. They do have Kenneth Walker. I have no idea what their offense will look like. New coaching staff. I wonder if we'll see him at fullback being a lead blocker or something.
I bet we would have if old Pete would have still been there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's some. Yeah, probably. But we'll see. But yeah, they got a lot of developmental kind of things because they didn't have a second. They had their first pick. I think he'll start instantly. He'll be an impact player instantly. But third round and down, don't really see anyone that's just gonna come in and just be an impact guy. Maybe Tyrese Knight, linebacker from Utah. Maybe he fits the Seahawks mold when it comes to linebackers. They like tackle machines. They want you to get 300 tackles a season. And I think he was in the top 10 in tackles in FBS last season. So, that makes a lot of sense. But outside of that, Seahawks have a very developmental draft for a 9-8 team. I don't love it. Like, I feel like they could have did a lot better.
True. What stood out to you about the NFC West draft?
Well, for me, I felt like I liked what the Cardinals did, and I like what the Rams did. I think the Rams, they picked up my guy from Michigan in the third round. I bet on him several times to score touchdowns for Michigan previous season. So he definitely covered for me a couple times. So I thought the Rams did good, but the Cardinals absolutely crushed it to me. Yeah. I mean, obviously picking up Marvin Harrison and Darius Robinson. Trey Benson also. Too. Yeah, Trey Benson.
2 top 3 prospects, and both of them were explosive offensive players.
I think that what they did in the third round, the Cardinals, they kind of just back to back picked up some solid pieces for the team. Yeah. So I really think, to me, they kind of, when we look at the overall draft, I think they had one of the better drafts in general. So, but definitely both of those first round picks, very, very, very heavy and very important for them going forward. Kind of fulfilling 2 very very big needs for the team going forward. And like I said, I thought the Rams did pretty good too. They had a couple decent pickups. I know you guys were just talking about the Seahawks. I know Byron Murphy. Think that was a solid pick. Not really so much sold on AJ and Christian Haynes for this particular team for the Seahawks. But as I always say when we talk the draft stuff, man, I'm a wait and see guy. I don't want to go too far into it and see. Curious to see how you feel, Eric, because I may have missed what what you said about your team. Not entirely. Not. I wasn't feeling some of their picks personally, but my guy out of Florida, got Rick out of Florida.
Slick Rick. Yep.
Yeah, interesting pick. What did he get? Ronaldo Green, I think, from Florida State. Yep. Some okay picks, I guess. Okay picks. I think they. I mean, I was a little bit surprised by some of the picks, especially Rick. Ricky. I didn't expect that to be one, but
Well,
but yeah.
Overall, I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but overall, where I settle at on that, because in conversations we've all had, and I've said it here on the pod 1,000 times, I was all about lineman. But the thing is Shanahan and Lynch have watched that film 10 times more than I have, and they felt like their playmakers got clamped. They felt like it was more important to get another playmaker to disrupt the schemes that defenses want to put against them than it was to get a lineman. So that's what they went with. We'll have to see, second guess it or say it was brilliant once the season gets going.
Yeah.
AFC West. God damn it, man. As much as it is painful to say, it's like seeing the shadow of the Death Star coming over us. Man, the Chiefs fucking killed it, man. God damn it. Fuck. They can't keep getting away with it. They got the fastest, of course, the fucking Chiefs get the fastest fucking player in the history of the NFL draft, Xavier Worthy. God damn it, man. And then also draft a starting caliber offensive tackle who I wanted for the 49ers in the second round, Kingsley Sumiata. Got to give it to him, man. Got to give it to him. Chiefs crushed it. What do you think, Tay?
Yeah, Chiefs didn't have many needs to me in the first place. Outside of
that's what sucks.
Yeah, they didn't really need anything.
How the fuck do you not have really needs? You just won the Super Bowl and you add the fastest dude in the history of the draft and a starting tackle.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes said it. I don't think people took. I took him serious in my mock drafts. Xavier Worthy in Kansas City, it just made sense. He said, "If you're there, we're taking you." That's exactly what they did. That's what you do. You listen to Patrick Mahomes. If he asks for a specific player, I mean, you got to do it. He's proven it. So I think Xavier Worthy. This offense is going to be different from last year.
Yeah.
They have two speedy guys. They have Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. I think Hollywood Brown is going to have a good season. And then Rashee Rice, I don't know how many games he'll play. He must not know he's in the NFL. I don't know what he's doing.
He's out there living his life like a GTA character.
I was just about to say that. He's playing GTA in real life. But, their wide receiving core could be fixed. Because last year it didn't look good. They somehow still won. I feel like that was, Travis Kelce. He showed up every game in the playoffs and whatnot, but the wide receiving core might be fixed.
Helps when the other fucking team's linebacker who is locking you down blows out his Achilles, running onto the fucking field. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, but the offense, this offense might be crazy again. Like last year, that was they struggled all year. The defense carried them. Mahomes just did enough. Like he wasn't taking the top off of defenses, which is fine. Like you don't have to just air it out every play, But now I feel like they have the personnel for it. And they're gonna have a lot of teams running 2 deep safeties and just making it underneath easier. Like Xavier Worthy just completely opens up the offense. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be Tyreek Hill or anything like that. Even half of Tyreek Hill just completely opens up the offense. Then they get a tackle, gifted by the 49ers, which I thought was funny for a team that didn't need that. I like that a lot. That was
basically
hilarious.
traded him directly to him.
Yeah, he just gifted it to him. And I'm sure they knew
they
were
I won't be talking about that in 6 months from now. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I feel after that, they're just taking like depth pieces. Jaden Hicks, he might see some play time as safety, maybe not. Took a tight end. I feel like the Chiefs have enough tight ends, but just the top 2 picks from the Chiefs for a team that didn't need to draft at all, in my opinion. They did a solid job, and we'll see them in the playoffs again next year.
I like what the Chargers did. If you get Joe Alt in there, he fulfills 80% of his potential of what he's supposed to be. You then have the best tackle tandem in the fucking league, protecting that top 5 quarterback back there. And then they still managed to get a dicey fucking route runner, a good yak guy in Lad McConkey in the second round. I really adjusted to got 2 neat areas and 2 players who are going to really help boost the squad next year. I liked that a lot. Are we true?
The hell you want, man?
I think.
The hell do you want? The hell do you want? Because I know where you're going with this. I want to talk about the Chiefs. I just want to talk about let's talk about the Chiefs.
Yeah. What team was I about? I think Tay is gonna help you feel better about this. Tay was a Bo Nix guy in the lead up to the draft. But yeah, go ahead. Talk about the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs absolutely did what they needed to do. Rashee Rice is obviously going to be missing a significant amount of time, and he's had issues for quite some time now. So I think the Chiefs needed something to kind of replace that production. Xavier Worthy, very worthy of that position. I know they added a couple of defensive backs as well, because I know they lost Snead in the offseason, so far as offseason. So definitely needed to replace losing somebody like that. And I can't necessarily say that the 2 defensive backs that they got, I know they got Jaden Hicks and Kamal, but I can't say they'll be completely the exact replacement, but it always helps to have a lot of depth to go to and guys who can play. I think the Chiefs did a really good job. They added a lot of pieces. You mentioned obviously they brought an offensive lineman who was going to help. They have so many. Their offense, I agree with Tay. The offense is going to look different. It's going to be probably more explosive than it was last year.
One of the fastest offenses in the league, bar none.
Yeah, and so
between Worthy and Hollywood Brown, that's nuts.
Yeah, and then you still have your old reliable, Travis Kelce, who will be somewhere, but he doesn't.
Fucking damn it.
But he won't be expected, I guess, to do as much as he has in the past, because you have 2 extremely fast. I wouldn't necessarily call Hollywood Brown a legitimate deep threat, but he can very well be that, and his speed helps. And Xavier Worthy could turn out to be. I also don't think he's going to be obviously Tyreek Hill, but that speed matters. I mean, you can be the fastest.
To account for it. Just the scheming that Randy Reed's going to be able to do with these guys. Just I
think if you're a team right now, it sucks, because you're looking at, man, we thought we kind of had them figured out last year because they struggled on offense, but their defense was really good. And now their offense is going to get better. And it doesn't seem like their defense really lost
too much.
Really, really much. So you're looking at a complete team in general. And that is a scary thought. Very unlike other teams in the same division.
Well, there's scary thoughts. There's scary thoughts going on. Quarterback of the future, Denver Broncos, Bo Nix. How are we feeling, True? How are you feeling about this draft class?
Okay, so obviously, like Bo Nix is like he's extremely experienced, extremely experienced
Yeah.
quarterback. So maybe the thought process is we bring him in, he gets a job, he can get the job done. I don't know if the job being done is winning 5 or 7 games. Not sure what their goal is for the year, but I wouldn't expect much more than that. So I didn't like the pick because I just like the quarterback room is just full of just not.
Battle of mid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the left cheek right cheek fight. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not much there, and so you know, I don't really know, man. Like I know they drafted a couple receivers, which is because obviously I think Troy Franklin, who has some familiarity, obviously with Bo Nix, would be not a suitable substitute for Jerry Jeudy because Jerry Jeudy wasn't great, obviously for Broncos, but I guess he helps.
He was the best out of all time of never living up to expectations. Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people wanted Jerry Jeudy to be a lot more than what he did, but I mean, you can always look at Troy Franklin and see if he can be, a complementary piece in that offense with Cortland, next, so I don't. I'm not fond of the Broncos draft, but I'm hoping that the Knicks and Franklin connection, maybe that'll be something worthwhile. I just don't feel like there's a lot to really look at. I know they took the running back from Notre Dame, and
that I highlighted. And what's funny, I was about to bring up is like even their sleeper wasn't a value.
Yeah,
I love Audric Estime. I love Audric Estime as a player, but 5th round? What the fuck are you doing? Dude's like 4.840. Like what? There's a good chance he's going to go undrafted, let alone the 5th. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, and he's, to me, I think it was Javonte Williams is going to be. I assume he's going to be their number one. Going forward, I assume. So, I mean, maybe he can learn.
I don't know. The way that they refused to give him the ball last year, I think maybe he fucked someone's wife. It's the only thing I can fucking think of as to why they just refused to fucking feature him so often.
That's usually how it works, right? Somebody fucks somebody's wife, and that's why they don't get opportunity. Well, I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know, man. Not fond of the draft, but I mean, there's like 2% glimmer of hope that something, what I'm saying, that something will come that come from this. But I mean, when you go up and down the AFC West, man, it's legitimately Chiefs, and I guess if you want to pat them on the back a little bit, the Chargers did pretty decent. I mean, I heard a lot of people say they really liked what the Raiders did, and I didn't necessarily hate what the Raiders did, but I don't think it was.
People saying it was extremely bizarre what they did.
So I heard a lot of people say the Raiders are going to be competing because the Broncos are going to be at the bottom. So it's going to be the Chargers and the Raiders. They're competing
for the bottom.
Yeah. So
I like not reaching for the quarterback. I always say that on here. Get good players. Don't just reach for quarterbacks. I honestly don't mind the Brock Bowers thing. If they're planning on running too tight, they're like, oh, they already have a tight end. Well, that's, a lot of teams run too tight, 11 personnel, one on both sides, double H on the right or left. Like you can use them both. In general, their first 2 picks were guys who they already have star players at the position in the center, Jackson Powers and Brock Bowers. So.
I think name value. They pick good players. I think they pick good players, which is why I think people. But I don't know if they necessarily fit.
It's a new GM. It's a new regime. So they really just fully committed to no. We're taking the best player that's there. Period. We'll figure it out later. Get good players. So I guess in that way, I should be praising it. It's just it's going to be very easy to second guess if it doesn't work out.
Well, they're lacking the one thing that they really need, and it's a truly, truly sufficient quarterback. So that'll
I don't know if we can say that yet. It ain't going to be long before we can say that, but I don't know if we can say it yet. I'll give him 8 games. He did enough as a rookie on a shitty team that was in turmoil.
I mean, you want to give him credit for making I guess chicken salad out of chicken shit. I mean, we could do that, but I just don't. I'll have very, very low hopes for the Raiders this year. So
I'm confused why they didn't make a move to get Justin Fields down there. That would be my confusion.
Would have been a decent choice.
Or the most hilarious troll job: sign Russell Wilson for the league minimum while their division rivals pay his contract. That would have been good too. And that's like a Raiders. In the Raiders of the glory days back in the 70s and 80s, that's how they rolled. They would get older players who people said were past their prime, who used to be stars, and they would get their last few good years out of them. Either one of those, I think, would have been a much better option than just. And then, using this draft capital to pick somebody like a Brock Bowers. I just feel like, wouldn't everybody be more excited if they're rolling into the season with Justin Fields and Brock Bowers?
I would, yes.
I feel like
can't speak for everybody, but yeah.
Tay, thoughts on the Raiders?
The Raiders. I think the Raiders were planning on taking a quarterback at pick 13,
and then some insane fucking team overdrafted one and fucked everything up.
I'll get there. Mm-hmm. I'll get there. But they're definitely gonna have 2 tight ends on the field. Like, yeah, they took Michael Mayer in the 2nd round last year. I don't think that ruined his career or anything. But it just tells me they're gonna have 2 tight ends on the field. I have Brock Bowers, and top of that, a lot of people think Brock Bowers is just a hand on the ground tight end. Brock Bowers is gonna be their slot wide receiver too.
Yeah, he's gonna do everything. So that is true.
So it's not. Michael Mayer will play just as much as Brock Bowers, so I wouldn't really worry about that too much. It does look a little odd, when you look at it, but nah, Brock Bowers, he's versatile. He'll play slot receiver too. Jackson Powers Johnson, I was a big fan. He can play both guards and center, so any need there, he could just slide there, and I think he'll be just fine. Outside of that, it's just a lot of developmental stuff. They got a tackle in the 3rd round, Delmar Glaze. He can play both left and right tackle, which is solid. And their tackle last year missed a lot of time, so that might be a kind of plug and play kind of thing if their current O-line does get hurt. But Raiders, the Raiders. I wasn't a big fan of the draft. They just took the best available. That's what they did throughout the whole draft. And I do think all the quarterbacks, I don't think they anticipated all the quarterbacks being gone before they could even pick. I don't think no one thought that. Speaking of the Broncos, I like their draft.
Oh, takes coming in hot here at the end.
Jesus Christ.
Bo Nix. I'd say Bo Nix out of the 6 quarterbacks that were took in the 1st round, Bo Nix is the one. He throws to the open man. Bo Nix does not look downfield and just, see a double team and throw it. If the running back's open, Bo Nix will hit the running back, which is how you keep a job. He's not scared to just throw the check down. He's not scared to throw the quick pass. And for Sean Payton, I like that. And there's no way we thought Sean Payton was about to have Jarrett Stidham as the QB1 and
Jarrett
Zach
Stidham
Wilson.
or Zach Wilson.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, there's no way. Sean Payton's not a tanking kind of guy. Like, you remember post Drew Brees, he had Jameis Winston. Like, they were still winning games, even had Taysom Hill playing quarterback. He's never gonna be okay with tanking and they won 8 games last year. Which was an improvement from the previous season. So I do like Bo Nix with a guy like Sean Payton. Sean Payton, I think he can develop quarterbacks pretty good. Bo Nix, he takes the open passes, like I said. They got an edge rusher and Jonah Ellis, which I'm a big fan of in the third round. They did not have a second round pick. I think they traded it last deadline, I believe. But yeah, they hit edge rusher. I love the Troy Franklin addition. I think the Broncos do not have a bad receiving core, not at all. They got Cortland Sutton. I don't think he's the best receiver on the team, but he's something. I think Troy Franklin, just playing with Bo Nix. Troy Franklin is the kind of receiver that you would want to play with. Him and Bo Nix have a connection. Like I was watching a film, Oregon's my favorite team. If you didn't know, Troy Franklin and Bo Nix have a connection. They have like a playground style connection. Like Troy Franklin will run a route, and if it's not there after a certain, it's like they both have a clock. If it's not there, they just run a different route. They just run to the other side of the field. They find each other. Troy Franklin comes to the ball. So Troy Franklin can get 1,000 yards for this team. Like I wouldn't. This almost reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown falling to the fourth round too. And we should have known that the Broncos were taking a running back, Sean Payton again. If you know Sean Payton, you kind of seen like Sean Payton never ever just has one running back. Like it's always two. You could think back to however long he's always had two running backs, kind of a thunder and lightning kind of thing. So. Even last year, that's why, if you feel as though Javonte Williams didn't get the ball as much, that's how it always is on the Sean Payton offense. They had Jaleel McLaughlin getting the ball as well. They just added Aldrick Estime to it. So, they're definitely going to have two different running backs out there. They also have Samaje Perine, who can give you some quality catches out the backfield. So, for what the Broncos needed, I think the Broncos could be a solid team. I give the Broncos A. I love their draft.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You have much more faith in the Broncos than I do to utilize their draft picks.
You got a play calling head coach. You don't have a head coach that stands
That's true.
there.
Contemplates.
You have a play calling head coach.
Who? Sean Payton?
There you go. Hey,
yeah.
Man, fuck Sean Payton, man. Fuck
You got a
fuck
play
that
calling
dude,
head
man.
coach. You don't have a head coach. I mean, you had Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, it's anything's better than that. Like
Just
Sean
because
Payton.
it's better. I feel like I have my thoughts on Sean Payton. I've had thoughts on Sean Payton for years. So that's just I was never fond of him as a coach. However, fuck the Broncos. I think for a team that went through their own off-season exodus, so to speak, I think the Chargers set themselves up fairly nice for the future. Maybe not this year, but for the future, I think the Chargers did a hell of a job getting pieces. I think we talked on the show about Junior Colson and where he was going to go and how high he was ranked. And I mean, it's a hell of a piece to have. Obviously, Joe Alt. I mean, one of my best friends is a huge Notre Dame fan, so I got to listen to plenty of stories about Joe Alt for the last however long. And yeah, I thought they had picked up a couple receivers through round 2 and two more receivers in round 7. So I thought Justin Herbert is gonna need all the people, and he's gonna need all the receivers he can get. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And obviously with Joe Alt, they already got Rashawn Slater already there, so he should have some protection to do what he does. So I like what
I say. If you can give yourself a top 5 position in the league, then you fucking do it. And if Joe Alt is 80% of the player the player that he was a prospect, they're going to have one of the best tackle tandems in the league with a franchise quarterback. Cannot be mad about that. We here, DAR Sports Media, have many franchise players running around here. We get hired out other places. United Football Media, check it out from Monday. Every Monday morning, we're back and better than ever with Tell Me About It, recap and preview show covering the UFL, the United Football League. Earlier this week, we did our hoop show updating the playoffs. A lot of interesting things happened in the NBA playoffs. Not so fast, my friend, on those Minnesota Timberwolves. Go back and listen if you want to hear our updated takes on that situation. And then, of course, weekend wrestling coming up at some point this weekend. Your guy has a very busy weekend going on, so we'll see what we can sneak in. But an interesting weekend wrestling. King and Queen of the Ring still rolling. We'll see if AEW continues their upward trend. As you can see, from the big list, the world of DAR never stops.